So what happens when, the chosen one, the anointed one, is the leader of the free world, but that anointed one, who is the leader of the free world, does nothing about suppression and the removing of someone's voice when they're talking about Jesus on social media. See, that's where my struggle, I've said, has come in with Donald Trump. And I'm not some leftist. I am not some person that loathes Donald Trump. I like Donald Trump. I do. I like him. So this is the past 24 hours, maybe, especially the past 24 hours, have been this struggle where it's like, but God, if I don't support your anointed one, and what finally came to me is there's only one anointed one. And Beth, you can't serve two masters. You can't serve two masters. And if that was really somebody, and maybe they have promise of being anointed by me, but they likely are sometimes following God's will, but then other times deciding to follow their own will, and when they feel that it is okay to overlook that Americans speaking about Jesus have tech platforms suppressing that, oppressing them, removing their voice, and you are the leader of the free world, and you have said you are the chosen one, and you do nothing about that, then God wants you to listen to the people. Will they? No, I don't think so. Because I don't think any of the governments, it's been very difficult for me till finally, over and over again, God, because I thought, well, then God, how is that, what is my relationship with you if I don't, not that I don't support this person, but I don't see them as necessarily doing your will when there's oppression going on, when there is silencing. And so when I don't support them like I used to, then how is that with my relationship with you? And God says it has no bearing, because there's only one that's anointed. And anybody claiming that they're anointed should be the people that do something, especially when they have the power to do something about the oppression and silencing of Americans when they're speaking about Jesus. We've heard all of our life, pray for your leaders, pray for your leaders. And you should. But the leaders should listen to the people. And they would say, but we were elected. Yeah, but that doesn't mean once you're elected, you should just go in and stop listening to the people. And it has become clear to me after 10 years that, because I stuck my neck out in 2020 to, because it's a long story. I've done videos about it. I posted about it. I don't want to go into it again. But when you're an everyday citizen and you do that, and then the government ignores it, even up to the White House, and then you realize why. It's because they only want, they do, like every administration, it doesn't matter what side here. Okay, this isn't a Democrat. This is a Democrat and Republican problem. Who they highlight is, the sports, the sport athletes, the military, and I can understand the military doing that, but it's the people that are famous, the music stars. But the Midwestern everyday citizens, no. And fine if you want to just ignore those people. They're just citizens that don't matter. It's, that shows though that you're not especially anointed because you're doing that, okay? But it can be overlooked. But then when you suppress and you do nothing, you're the leader of the free world. You absolutely could do something about tech doing that, and you do nothing. But you want to say you're the chosen one. No, then you're like the part-time chosen one. Which you're saying, yep, I'm surrendering my life to God sometimes, but then I'm just going to go off on my own will and do it my own way, and me and my family, we know best. But when you are the leader of this country, where our First Amendment is the right to speak, most especially about Jesus, we have that right, and you do nothing about tech, then that is not, then you are falling off with being chosen. Maybe God has hopes for you. I would say that. But my biggest thing that I struggled with was, I'm like, what does that mean for my relationship with you, God? Because I believe in you. He says it has no bearing on your relationship with me because I am your master. You can't serve two masters. The government wants you to serve two masters. They'll tell you, "Oh no, you can honor your God, but make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to civically." Right? Paul said all that, but Jesus didn't. Again, you remove Paul, you have two different completely religions. I'm not sure why but you won't find anybody. But this is why I'm silenced. Because you need to honor the master of the country. So that's where my struggle has come in with. And Jesus is pulling me to him, saying, no. I mean, every step of the last 5 years is Jesus pulling me away from that and pulling me more to him. So, and it's hard because, again, I don't hate Donald Trump. But there's been some major things that he's just decided to overlook, to act like it's, not happening, okay? And that seems so beneath him, in my opinion, but he does it anyway. And so at the end of the day, though, Jesus has the final word. You can't serve two masters. And I won't.